Urban Meyer, as we know, it's been tough sledding for the college football legend.
Ain't that easy in the pros, huh? Ain't that easy?
Right, he's finding that out, right? So they're 0-2, of course, and not just tough sledding for him, but Trevor Lawrence as well, who's got 5 interceptions, I believe. So anyway, after their loss to the Broncos, of course, the coaches meet at midfield, and they exchange pleasantries. And Vic Fangio, the coach of the Denver Broncos, here's what he said that Urban Meyer told him after that game. This is the NFL. Well, this is Vic saying it. This is the NFL. I don't know Urban Meyer at all, really. I met him the other day, shook his hand before the game and after the game. And his comment to me was, every week is like playing Alabama in the NFL. That's it. Everybody's capable of beating everybody in this league. Rob, quickly, a couple stats for you before you weigh in. Urban Meyer, in his whole tenure at Ohio State, where he coached, I believe, 7 years, he never lost more than 2 games. Now, of course, they're on the verge of starting 0-3. They play Arizona. So Arizona is obviously a pretty good team.
They got a good shot to lose that game.
Absolutely.
Really.
So they could go 0-3, losing more games in the first 3 weeks than he lost in any of his 7 years at Ohio State. So, Rob, your thoughts?
You took the $12 million a year. You got the first pick. What did you think? Hello, is this on? Urban. Did you do research and look at the coaches who have left college and come to the NFL and basically then left with their tail stuck between their legs? It ain't a piece of cake like college, where there's only a handful of teams and all the other teams are just fodder for you. You got that job
and you
for a
literally
reason.
Go out and get the best kids.
Right.
Literally.
Right? It ain't like that in the pros. Ask Steve Spurrier. Ask Nick Saban, the greatest college coach ever. Ask him. When he ran from Miami, couldn't do it. And now you're like surprised? This is a shocker that it's going to be a rough road? No, hey, Pete Carroll, we get it. Pete Carroll was an NFL coach.
Yeah, I'm not putting him in the college coach
He's not
category.
in that because he was
already. He had his great success there, but he was an NFL coach first.
And then he went to college and won at USC and then went back to the NFL.
Right.
And then, Chris, we'd have to go all the way back to Jimmy Johnson and the Cowboys 25 years ago when Barry Switzer took over for him, right? Those are the time when college coaches were winning NFL Super Bowls.
Right.
But since then, the cupboard's been bare and dry.
And that was what, 25, 20, almost 29 years ago, 28, 29 years ago. Yeah, look, for the coaches you mentioned, Steve Spurrier, great college coach, lasted 2 years in the NFL with Washington, went 12-20. Bobby Petrino did well in college. Goes to the pros, last 13 games, Rob, at Atlanta.
Is that all it was?
13 games.
That's right. He had some other issues going on, didn't he?
Right.
Wow.
Nick Saban, you mentioned, and I agree, greatest college coach ever. 2 years at Miami, goes 15-17. And now you got Urban Meyer. Here's what I'll say, and this could be, maybe this can be some inspiration for an Urban Meyer, Rob. You mentioned the most successful guy in recent memory, right, that we can think of, who made the transition from college to the pros, and that would be Jimmy Johnson. And here's the difference between Jimmy Johnson and the rest of these guys. Jimmy stayed through the hard times. Jimmy didn't show up in Dallas and all of a sudden everything was great.
No,
they were 1-15 his first year. He hung in there. They were 7-9 his second year. They hung in there. 11-5 the next year, but still don't win the Super Bowl.
No,
they lost 4th year.
They got their butts kicked by the Lions and Wayne Fontes.
There you go.
With with Troy Aikman and all those guys and Emmitt Smith, Chris. Those guys were all on the team. The Lions won that playoff game.
It was his 4th and 5th years, Rob, that he won those Super Bowls in Dallas. Then he did go to Miami, coached for 4 years. It's great. He made the playoffs 3 years, but never, got near a Super Bowl again.
Right.
So that's the difference, Rob, is that Jimmy Johnson hung in there. None of these other guys lasted 3 years. So that's what I don't know. Look, who knows what Urban's thinking?
Hey, you know what? They tweeted out, Sports Illustrated. Did you see it, Chris, or no?
No.
Sports Illustrated tweeted out the quote, "A lot of good players in this league, man. It's Alabama every week." And then the tweet from SI says, "How long will Urban Meyer last in the NFL?" ? Already, Chris. That's off of that quote.
Oh, yeah. No. And I get it. And this not even like it's not if he leaves, it won't be an indictment on his character. I mean, it is what it is. I get it if a guy who all he's done is win just can't handle the losing, Rob. Just can't stomach it. You're just tired. You're like, look, I can go back to college and I know I can win. I know the formula there. Do I really want to stay here and lose 12 games every year? If he does that, and goes back to college, it'll be fine to me. But I would say to him, look at Jimmy Johnson. Because it's going to be rough this year, Rob. They might go 1-16.
You know what?
I mean, that's possible.
And you remember, people were thinking that the Texans were worse, Chris, and some other things. And no, Jacksonville looks bad. The Jets look bad. Those were the 2 worst teams a year ago.
They look like the 2 worst teams in the league right now. Yep, absolutely. And so, yeah, we'll see. But I don't know. If you ask me, Rob, you put a gun to my head, I would say that Urban's going to get tired of the losing.
Does he last 1 year or 2 years? I don't think he's quitting after.
I definitely think he lasts a year and goes into the second year.
And then quits?
I'm gonna give him 2 years.
I think
unless Trevor Lawrence unless they turn it around next year, maybe win 10 games or something.
10 games.
I know. That's
10 games, my butt.
Hey, it is the NFL. You never know. But what are your what's your guess? How long?
I think 2 years is right. I think that's about it. And they'll be bad 2 years. And, it'll be really bad this year. Next year, they'll win a few more games because just from progress and Trevor Lawrence, figuring some things out. But ultimately, Chris, they're not going to turn this around to the levels that he wants and he's used to. So he'll be like, I don't know if I could just do this anymore. And I think 2 years, you don't feel like he's a total quitter, like he bailed out on everybody. And it could be like 2 years, man, it just isn't progressing, or, I want to be with my family, or the health thing, like whatever you got to do, you could get your way out of it after 2 years.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And Rob, he's already had a bit of a comeuppance because he's found out, in college he could do absolutely whatever he wanted to do.
Not here.
He found out you can't hire this strength coach from Iowa.
You can't.
Right? That maybe is your boy.
You can't put Tim Tebow on the team who's your next door neighbor and friend. You can't put him on.
It was not happening. And so that's part of it too, is you got so much control in college, Rob, and you just don't have that in the NFL. These are grown men making more money than you. All right? And you got to know how to deal with that. So it's going to be interesting to see how Urban Meyer handles this. But, Rob, midway through this season, if they're like 1-8, my goodness, it is going to be interesting to see where his head is at.